This is for you if you're a fresh graduate who feels inadequate because despite finishing your degree, your English communication skills are embarrassingly poor or downright awkward in a professional setting. And before you say, oh, I don't care about speaking English, it is not a measure of intelligence, you're absolutely right. Speaking English does not define intelligence. However, in many professional settings, being able to communicate well in English can open doors for you. It can unlock a whole new level of earning potential. You can handle international clients, pitch ideas with confidence, and work on bigger projects. So if your job or your potential job involves any of these, then do not ignore the language that connects you to the world. And before you say, oh, shouldn't we be proud of our Filipino accent? We shouldn't have to change it just to fit into some global standards. Well, you're absolutely right. We should be proud of our Filipino heritage and culture. But improving your English accent does not mean that you're forgetting who you are. In most cases, you don't have to lose every bit of your Filipino accent just to be understood. Well, unless you work in a call center, that is. But in other cases, you can retain some of that Pinoy accent. The goal is to neutralize it to make sure that you're easy to understand. Think about international Filipino broadcasters and journalists. When delivering the news, most of them retain some aspects of their Filipino accent while still being easily understood in English internationally. So if you want to enhance your career and earning potential by improving your English, keep watching. Tip number 1, consume English media. Raise your hand if you're a Korean novela addict, because I'm here to tell you that if you're truly serious about improving your English, you gotta stop watching content that has zero impact on your English proficiency. You gotta immerse yourself in English media, plain and simple. There are plenty of options too. Movies, podcasts, YouTube videos of native speakers, you name it. Most of them are free. And depending on your taste, they probably could be as entertaining as Korean novelas. Understand that it's very likely that the tone and pronunciation you learned in school aren't the same as the actual tone and pronunciation that native English speakers use. So there's not only a lot of things to relearn, but also unlearn. So start learning from the real deal and listen to native English speakers, because that is only the first step. You still have a long way to go. Tip number 2, practice shadowing. Once you start consuming English media, you'll find that it's still not enough. That is only input after all. You need output. And that's when you practice shadowing. And maybe a hat. Can you exaggerate it? And maybe a hat.
And maybe a hat.
And maybe a hat to keep the sun off your face.
And maybe a hat to keep the sun off your face.
Shadowing is when you listen to native speakers and repeat what they say in real time. You try to match their pace, tone, and rhythm. Basically everything you hear. Doing this trains your ear to better understand natural speech patterns. You can do this with a tutor or alone. Here's an example of a shadowing practice I conducted with my student. This is Jamala. She's great at finding the right words, but she tends to speak in a bit of a monotone, so we're focusing on making her delivery more dynamic by injecting variety to her voice in terms of pitch, intonation, stress, rhythm, and pacing. When you're getting ready for the day, it's like getting and day are emphasized. Also,
when you're getting ready for the day.
Say it again.
When you're getting ready for the day.
There's a lot to remember. There's a lot to remember. Emphasis on lot. There's a lot to remember.
There's a lot to remember.
Okay, that's good. So when you're getting ready for the day, there's a lot to remember.
When you're getting ready for the day, there's a lot to remember.
Oh, see, there's more variation now. Your phone, if you really do it slow-mo, there's like a wave there.
Phone. Your phone, your wallet.
Your phone, your wallet, keys, your bag. It signals the brain that this is going to be a list. A little chili flake for some heat.
A little chili flake for some heat.
You do this exercise enough times and you'll gradually improve your accent and delivery. If you're doing this alone, simply repeat everything you hear, but with a voice recorder. You repeat, record, and judge from the original recording if you're repeating this speech pattern correctly. But if you don't have a tutor and you also do not trust yourself to be a good judge of sounds, I highly recommend using an app designed just for this purpose. And that's where the sponsor of today's video comes in. I highly recommend Elsa Speak. Elsa Speak is an app designed to help you fix your pronunciation and accent. What's great about Elsa Speak is it doesn't just give you random feedback. Instead, it rates your pronunciation, fluency, intonation against native speakers. So what happens is you get specific feedback on where you're going wrong and exactly how to improve.
This call may be recorded for quality and training purposes.
This call may be recorded for quality and training purposes. So there are two corrections. Pronounce it as A, like may. This call may be recorded for quality and training purposes. 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 Oh, it's actually really... It's actually purposes instead of purposes. Okay, now you learn something every day, don't you? This call may be recorded for quality and training purposes. Oh. Elsa Speak has over 1,600 lessons and covers more than 40 topics. Whether you're preparing for a job interview, navigating business meetings, or just learning how to talk about your favorite foods, there's a lesson for that. And if you're into more casual learning, they've got topics like movies, travel, and entertainment. One of the coolest part is the community. You can add friends, compete on the leaderboard, and ask for help on any word you're struggling with. Plus, it has this amazing dictionary feature where you can type in an unfamiliar word, you learn the meaning, as well as hear how it's supposed to sound.
Leviathan.
Leviathan. Trust me, it's a lifesaver when you're learning a new vocabulary. And that is not all. If you want to make sure that you don't forget this word again, you just add it as a study set. You create a study set name, adjectives, and then you click finish. And there you go. Under this study set, you have a list of adjectives that you can revisit from time to time, so you will eventually convert it into an active vocabulary. 10 years ago, this feature, this app just did not exist, and I wish it did. It was like having a language buddy with you that you can access whenever, wherever. It's perfect for fitting in those quick practice sessions between daily routines. So if you're ready to take your English to the next level, check the links in the description box or the comment section. I'm giving you 2 links. One link will let you download Elsa Speak for free and give you 7 days of pro membership, no strings attached. The second link, it's offering a crazy 40% discount on a 1-year membership, plus an insane 85% off the lifetime membership. That's a savings of $400 if you go for the lifetime option. So don't miss out on this chance to level up your English. Tip number 3, write an English journal. So back when I was 20 years old, fresh out of school, struggling to meet ends meet with my 220 peso a day job at a mall, I knew that the only way to earn a better paycheck was to work in a call center. But at that time, my English just wasn't enough. Because internet at that time was quite expensive, I didn't have a computer. I knew that the cheapest way to improve my English was to write an English journal. That way I only had to have a pen, a paper, a dictionary, and some discounted books I had picked up on sale. I wrote every day about everything I could think of. I forced myself to pay attention to the English sentence structure and syntax. I already knew the basic rules of English, from school, but I just wasn't using English in my daily life. So I had to force my brain to pay attention to it. And in fact, I still have that notebook over here. This is like a tiny notebook, very portable. This was way back September 2nd, 2012. So that's more than 10 years ago. Reading this now, it's all very cringy. I wrote quite regularly while I was still improving my English, even after I landed the job. It's very cringy looking at this now, what I was writing back then, but it really helped me level up my English. And here's how. Writing helps you organize your thoughts in English rather than in your mother tongue. I know it's a slow process, but that is actually where the value lies. By taking your time and being deliberate with your thoughts, you're able to self-correct. And that self-correction is essential in achieving Grammar accuracy and syntax. Studies suggest that writing triggers the brain's reticular activating system, which is crucial for memory formation. This helps learners not only retain new words, but also access them more easily in conversation. Immersing yourself in writing activities also help you transition smoothly to speaking spontaneously. Your topic doesn't even need to be profound or anything deep. Just write whatever it comes to mind when you're sitting down with your pen and paper. The important thing is to exercise your brain to translate thoughts into words. Here's an example. As you can see, this is a very simple piece. The key is to do this regularly. Learning a language is just like a muscle. The more you use it, the more it's going to get better and stronger. Tip number 4, film yourself answering random questions in English. Here's why it works. Answering random questions forces you to think on your feet. You're able to speak without overthinking.
If you had to rename yourself, what would your new name be and why? If I had to rename myself, I don't think I would change the name, but rather the spelling. Because when my mom gave birth to me, my name is supposed to be spelled with double E. After the singer Sheena Easton, but for some reason the person who registered my name misspelled it, and so my name ended up becoming a typo, and I think that's sad. That's sad to only have one name throughout your entire life here on earth and to learn that it's actually just a typo. So if I have a chance to rename myself, I would just rename it to the correct spelling, the same pronunciation, but correct spelling this time, you know?
This helps with spontaneity to help you get better at speaking on the spot. Granted, the vocabulary you're going to come up with while thinking on the spot are going to be weaker than the vocabulary you're going to come up with while writing. The goal is to get you used to thinking in English without overthinking every word, and your vocabulary will expand as you get more used to retrieving words and phrases on the spot. Your recall will become more and more automatic. Begin by writing down the questions, any questions that you can think of. Here are some examples. And to help you organize your thoughts while you're speaking, use the PREP framework. Point, reason, example or explanation, point.
If you could instantly become an expert in any skill, what would it be and why? If I could become an expert in any skill, that would have to be in graphic design, because it is such a versatile skill. You can use it in videography, photography, advertising, anywhere, and you would greatly benefit from it. For example, when I create my YouTube thumbnails, I always find myself researching about graphic design principles. Even if you're left with only 2 elements or only 2 colors, the image would still look attractive, beautiful, and eye-catching. So if I can be an expert in any skill instantly, I would like it to be in graphic design.
The key is repetition, of course. You won't see any results in just a few days of doing this, but do this enough times and quite regularly, and you'll see a massive difference. I highly recommend that you film yourself instead of just using a voice recorder, because when you film yourself, you get to hear not only your words and your voice, but also your body language. When you reach a point where you're already speaking decently, you can then focus on your body language. And that's because nonverbal communication is also essential to appearing confident. So this practice of filming yourself gives you an awareness of how you come across, not just vocally, but also visually. Over time, you'll be able to adjust your body language to match the tone of what you're saying, which just makes you sound more natural and engaged. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. Thank you for watching. Bye.